Welcome to the Deep Dive. We dig through the details so you don't have to. Today, we're looking at a really interesting case from Japan. It's about how local communities managed to challenge, well, decades of government control over making alcohol. Specifically, using this system called Tokuseido, the special zone system, against the liquor tags law.
Yeah, it's fascinating because, the Tokuseido often gets a bad rap. People say it lacks jitukuse, practical effectiveness.
Right, you hear that criticism a lot.
But this alcohol cluster, we're talking wine, doburoku, fruit liquors, and it's the big exception. Over 150 special zones involved. It was this huge coordinated effort.
Wow, 150. That's massive.
It really was. So our mission today is to unpack how letting local areas control liquor production actually worked as a tool for regional economic regeneration. Tihususe.
Okay, so what was the actual rule they were fighting against? The big hurdle?
It boiled down to the minimum production quantity. To get a license, you had to promise to make a certain amount each year.
And that amount was high.
Very high. For many types, like sake or wine, it was 6,000 liters annually.
6,000 liters. Okay, help me picture that.
Well, think about standard wine bottles. That's roughly 8,000 of them. For a small farmer just starting, or maybe a little tourist spot, forget it.
Yeah, that sounds impossible. It's not a target, it's a wall.
Exactly. That rule was the central government's control. So the genius of the Toku system here was the workaround.
How did that work?
Local governments could ask for an exception. They could say, look, we want to allow production below 6,000 liters. But, and this is key, it's tied directly to our regional plan. Maybe using local rice, promoting tourism, that kind of thing.
So they had to justify it locally. It wasn't just asking for a handout.
Precisely. It sidestepped the central bureaucracy by tying it to local development goals.
That's clever. And you mentioned looking at the names of these zones reveal different strategies.
Yeah, if you classify the zone names, you see three clear economic approaches. First is what we might call the Dobroku strategy.
Dobroku.
Yeah.
That's the unfiltered home-style sake, right?
Exactly. The strategy is really about regional defense, preserving culture, especially in rural rice-growing areas like Tohoku or Kyushu.
So less about global markets, more about local identity.
Yes, and often linked directly to green tourism. Think of the South Senriku Green Tourism Toku. Farmer inns could get a license to make and serve their own doburoku. Very local.
Okay, strategy one. Local defense, culture, tourism. What's number two?
Number two is almost the opposite, the wine and cider strategy. This is concentrated in places really focusing on terroir, like Hokkaido, Yamanashi, Nagano.
Aiming for premium quality.
Definitely. Premium, export-focused branding. The Toku status, like for the Nikki Wine Toku in Hokkaido, lets these small quality vineyards get started without needing that huge 6,000-liter output right away.
Because new vines don't yield much initially.
Exactly. It lets them focus on quality during that crucial startup phase.
Makes sense. And the third one?
The third is the liqueur and specialty strategy. This is all about agricultural diversification.
Using local fruits or vegetables.
Right. Taking local specialty crops, maybe things that are hard to sell fresh or face overproduction, and adding value by turning them into unique liqueurs.
Got any examples?
Sure, like the Kiwamanabe plum wine toku using local plums, or even the Kitamoto tomato liqueur toku. It gives farmers a new high-value outlet.
Tomatoes, plums, interesting ways to boost local agriculture.
So these zones, they clearly worked as incubators, great for getting new producers off the ground, but there's a structural problem that emerges from this success.
A problem? What happens when they do well?
Yeah.
When they actually grow?
Well, that's what we call the Toku trap.
The Toku trap. Okay, explain.
Most of these special Toku licenses have really strict sales limits. Often you can only sell right there at the facility or maybe just within that prefecture.
So it keeps them small and local.
Yes. But what if a producer gets really good, builds a brand, and wants to sell nationally? Or export?
They need a regular license.
Exactly. And suddenly, boom, they're facing that 6,000-liter minimum production requirement again, the very barrier they use the Toku to bypass.
So they can't easily graduate out of the special zone status.
It's very difficult. The path from successful local incubator to national player isn't smooth. That regulatory cliff is still there, just postponed. It limits their growth potential significantly.
Okay, so summing this up, we have a sector, alcohol production that's usually under tight central control.
Extremely tight. Major source of tax revenue historically.
But here, local communities, through coordinated grassroots pressure using the Tokku system, managed to create over 150 exceptions. That seems like a genuine success, especially compared to reform attempts in other areas.
It absolutely proves local communities can push back against central inertia effectively. It worked. They got the licenses. But if the real goal isn't just keeping local culture alive, but serious long-term economic revitalization for these regions,
then just getting the initial license isn't enough.
Right. The next big challenge isn't just getting more regulatory exceptions. It's designing a national policy, a proper pathway that lets these successful small producers transition smoothly.
From the Tokku incubator
to sustainable national and maybe even international markets without hitting that old regulatory wall all over again. That's the next frontier.